Loud explosions rocked the night air, and military helicopters descended to land on one of the city's busiest streets. Jim Murray explains what was going on.
Oh my God.
Los Angeles under attack? It sure looked that way as Black Hawk helicopters flew in formation right over downtown buildings in the pitch dark. You can even hear an explosion. Choppers landed smack in the middle of Wilshire Boulevard. Soldiers could be seen running to climb on board in this video, shot by a guy out his apartment window. This is Wilshire Boulevard, one of LA's busiest and most famous streets, where people were left in a panic, wondering...
All right, call hello, Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shah Ba'Hashem Kakadash. Double honors to, of course, to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule well, who've been enduring through the faith well. And peace and salutations to you sincere brothers out there pushing the truth across the four corners of the earth. Continue to do so. Continue to fight the good fight. As you can see, whenever you have a large system like America, like I was saying, whenever you have a large system like America has, you got so many factors, so many things to factor in, so many variables. Basically, what they end up having to do, they have to run testing. They have to run testing, and they got to run tests. They got to practice outages, just like this. They're actually, practicing urban warfare, and they have. I know damn shit in Missouri they got him because the ex-governor, he was out there and they were doing the urban warfare testing and training and things like that in the middle of the woods. But now they're just going ahead and going all out and testing in the middle of the city. That was LA. LA is a big ass city. We really don't know exactly what the fuck was going on, but from what we can see, I'll put it like that, they were testing. They're starting to gear up, and if you're noticing, YouTube. Not too long ago, you had YouTube go out. Sometimes the internet goes in and out. They just had basically food stamps was scheduled to go out. Food stamps and EBT was scheduled to go out, but that's why the scriptures talk about we hasten the day. We want to see that day. We don't know when the day is coming. We don't have exact dates on it like people want us to have, but we hasten that day. We pray for that day that that stuff is really going to happen, because right now what they're doing, and I'm gonna jump into the scriptures because this is Revelations 20:3. This is where we're at kind of right now. Afterwards, it said, "And cast him up into a bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal on him, that he should deceive the nations no more, until the 1,000 years should be fulfilled, and after that he must be loosed a little season." And that little season came during that period of the Renaissance. Okay, the deception came back in full force. The Renaissance, the rebirth of what? The rebirth of the Roman Empire. Now we're in America, which is part of the season, because the Renaissance was a thing all over Europe. Esau had taken over Europe, and that Renaissance stuff has started to come out. Shortly afterwards, Columbus came over, sailed the ocean, came over here to Hispaniola. The Moors went down. All the Israelites basically were put in captivity. They went down. North Africa, West Africa, all over Africa and Europe and different parts of Asia where you had Jake ruling. Hell, you can even say the Middle East, because Jake was, I don't know if we were ruling in the Middle East like that, but you have a lot of Israelites in the Middle East. And so once Esau came back into power, that deception began to spread, that deception that he's the saint, that he's the Anglo-Saxon, right, which is angelic sons of Isaac, that he's the princes of power, and they're not. Okay, the deception, because you had what? during that Renaissance period, you had what's his name? Not only did you have the Borgia family, which they did a lot of business with Leonardo da Vinci. You know, Leonardo da Vinci, he did a lot of artwork too. He did the what is it? I think it's called like the Merovingian Man or something. You know, it's that common picture that shows the so-called Edomite man, and he's supposed to be like the prototypical man. You know, then he came with his inventions, and you have a lot more too. I probably should that would be a good another lesson for another video. The different workings of the Renaissance and the different things that the Renaissance pushed forth. But the point being, looking back, looking back now, because what's going to happen in the next verse, Salakia, it's going to say, I saw thrones and they sat upon them, and judgment was given up unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahweh Shai and for the word of the Most High. So basically, this is the end of that season that it was talking about, the end of that deception. And that it was just, you can see, this is the end game. Basically, these people were beheaded for the witness of Yahweh Shai, and they chose not to worship the beast. They chose not to take that chip in them. And that's what's ramping up now. That's why he's running his tests. Because the scriptures also talk about what? He's going to come down like a flood. And that's what they're doing. That's what all these different movies of martial law is about. I know when they came here to St. Louis, when they came during the Ferguson trial, they had military, they had little sub bases set up in actual stores. You know, basically whatever they can get their hands on, they're going to use. You know, this man's system, they could do whatever they want. But, you know, they had sub bases set up. They had troops ready to roll. You know, basically if they had to go door to door, they had to start rounding people up and getting people under control. They would have did that shit. They would have did it. And that's under Barack Obama, who people are saying is the first black president. But I'm going to read this article too, because this is another thing that they're doing. One of the newest things that's becoming very common is programming. You have a lot of free programming courses in C++ and different other programs that people are taking, and they're using these skills and they're taking them, and all of these old and outdated pieces of technology that people are using, like ATMs, they have a relatively outdated technology. You know, some of these older models of cameras, a lot of these Wi-Fi routers, a lot of stuff. You know, basically, if they can get up-to-date programming information and understanding, they can use that to gather people's information. Okay. Same with your information that you present to the insurance company. Same with security online. A lot of these big big companies that gather a lot of information. Once again, insurance companies, whether it be health insurance, auto insurance, social security information. Any of these websites or any of these places that are not encrypted or not up to date, they can be hacked. You know, they can send their operatives to they can pay certain people to hack into these websites and to get this information, because what they're trying to do, it's a Hegelian thing. You know, they have the problem, but then you have the reaction, and then they have that solution waiting on you. And that's the plan. They want to force people into that solution of taking the chip, because everything online, well, matter of fact, I'm going to show you. It says programmer finds ridiculous ATM loophole that lets him withdraw $1 million in cash. I mean, this is fucking crazy. And the bank forgave him. You know, it's just strange shit. You know, a vending machine, an ATM machine that actually has $1 million in cash in 2019. I mean, I don't know how much cash they each have, but that's a lot of fucking cash to have. That's a lot of fucking cash. And it sounds something straight out of a movie. An unsatisfied bank programmer He's a programmer. Discovers the perfect scheme for making an ATM spit out free money. But apparently the story is true, blah, 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 blah. A 43-year-old managed to withdraw 77 million yuan, which is upwards of 1 million US dollars from ATMs. So this is in China. It said the bank system didn't properly record withdrawals made at around midnight, effectively spitting out cash without removing the total from a user's account. Normally they might send a red flag, and this in China, this is the main testing ground basically for the RFID chip. They basically have the mark of the beast right now. They basically have it. They got all those cameras set up. They got the whole system set up, and another thing that they're doing in China too, they got basically one app that controls every other app. You know, on a click of the button, the Chinese got all those factories that the U.S. has there, so they have the capability to knock off and steal a lot of U.S. technology. So like it. Yeah, because you know, one of the things that's costing the U.S. millions of dollars right now is well, really billions of dollars is knockoffs. You know, you got all these sites set up where you can get Chinese knockoffs. You know, you want those new $100 Nikes, China got them $20. You want those new, you know, whatever True Religion jeans or whatever you know, bullshit that you desire. China basically has knockoffs, which is exactly the exact same shit with the same brand name on it for, you know, damn near 25% of the cost. And that's costing the U.S. a lot of money. And that's what's going on now. Another thing, too, the Chinese are sending a lot of students over to the U.S. and they're stealing a lot of ideas and sending them back to China. And that's another issue, too, that the U.S. is having with China. They're not honoring the international, what's the word I'm looking for? Basically, the certificate that gives you ownership of an idea, patents. Excuse me, international patents. China does not. They're not doing a good job of honoring international patents, and that, along with them trying to build infrastructure all through from China all the way to Europe. Because they're trying to build those roads back up. They're following that Silk Road idea again. That's becoming a problem. But at the end of the day, the U.S. is still, you know, because we talk about the United States going down, we talk about these other nations rising up. The U.S. is still the head, and China is still following after the lead. The U.S., you know, Esau has that chief blessing as the chief wicked. So, you know, just the elder was doing an algorithm update. I thought I'd just give my report in on what's going on and why is it going on. And we're going to continue in 2019 because it's the year of the Quran. We're going to continue to see different hacks, different people be able to manipulate technology. And finally, you know, Esau's going to go ahead and say, because they have the solution already, well, look, we need to create a completely secure system that you don't need all these cards, you don't need all these numbers, you don't need to remember all these passcodes, all these PIN codes. And so it's going to be a thing where it's convenient, it's going to make you more money, it's going to cost less money to defend and ensure the security of it, and that's when they're going to start hitting you with the chip, right? Elon Musk talked about Neuralink. But with that being said, I got to head back to the plantation. Call Allah Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah. Hopefully this is edifying. Shalom.